Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're having a good week. Let's talk PEDs. Now, don't switch off because this is going to be an interesting video, right? I'm not talking about the usual stuff. I wanted to bring your attention to a really terrific. It lasts for a couple of hours, so it ain't like a 5-minute watch, but it was a really good interview by Tris Dixon and Larry Olubamiwo. And for those of you that don't know, Larry Olubamiwo is a former British heavyweight. He was a Southern Area champ. He also fought for the British title, got knocked out in a round by John McDermott, and he then went on the road as a journeyman. He's from Hackney. He ended up with, I think, 11 wins and 19 defeats. 6 of them were by stoppage, the defeats, and he had 9 of his 11 wins were by knockout. But he is probably best known because after his fight with McDermott for the title, where he got done in a round, he got busted for drugs, for drug use, for performance enhancing drugs. Now, there's a lot of people say he had 13 drugs in his system. This is not actually true. He was busted for EPO, all right, which for those that don't know, it's often used for it's for people who've got low red blood cells, so anemia. I think it's used in cancer treatments as well. I'm not an expert on this, and I can't remember what EPO stands for. It's obviously an acronym because we live in a world of acronyms, but it's one of those long, it's erythropoietin, something like that. I don't know. You tell me. You leave it in the comments, or look it up. I can't be asked to look it up. But he got busted for that, and then he cut a deal. They said to him, if you go through, if you name people who've given you this, and if you name all the drugs that you've taken, and if you go through a laundry list or a shopping list of drugs that you've taken, then maybe you can apply to have your license back. This was this UCAD? I can't remember. It was one of the leading, I think it might have been UCAD. It was one of the leading testing agencies that said this to him. And Larry then gave them the list of drugs that he had taken at different times of his career. Okay, and it came to 13, but he didn't have all 13 in his system in one go. It was just the EPO he got busted for. So he disclosed the others after the fact. And because he played ball with, I think it was UCAD, I could be wrong, he then reapplied for his license and was granted it. I think it was only about a year after he'd been busted or something like that. It's a case of, quid pro quo, you tell us what we need to know, and, then the board couldn't really sort of go back on, renege on that promise that had been made to him. So he ended up going down the journeyman route. I think he only ever won one fight after that, ended up with a losing record. But the one thing you need to know about Larry Olubamiwo is that he has a degree in biochemistry, or some sort of, in other words, he knew what he was doing. He knew about cycles, he knew which drug was what did what you could use in microdoses, what you could use in, what would be out of your system within 12 hours, never mind 24 hours. And he was playing that game, but he had the knowledge. He's got a degree in biochemistry. He understands what can be detected and what can't. So we knew all about this stuff. EPO is something you have to inject every second day. He admitted that some of the anabolic steroids he was taking, he was injected every day. Some of them were in pill form. So he was bang at it, to put it mildly, bang at it. And this is a guy whose biggest payday was 10 grand. He said he had a couple of 10 grand paydays and that was it. The rest of it. So even if you go back to, however many years it was, 15, 20 years, whatever, I can't remember when. The last fight he had was against Hughie Fury, which was a 1-round knockout. I can't remember what year it was, but he said I was a poor boxer, a poor jobbing boxer. So it isn't just the big guys who are taking it; it's the people at the grassroots level. I think his last fight was about 2014, 2015, Larry, and he got busted probably around about 5 years previous, so that would be about 2010, 2011. So it's not that long ago, not in terms of. And he was prior to that, and he said, I was using drugs from day one, and he won the Southern Area title. He had a couple of good wins, Scott Belshaw, Colin Kenner, and a few others who were, decent domestic level heavies, and he got away with it until he got nicked, and then he did a deal, and then he went down the journeyman route. Now, the point is that it is, as I said a moment ago, it's not just the big boys that are doing this. It's God knows how many people are not getting nicked for it, and they're at grassroots level, and they're getting away with it for the most part because there's no testing going on. Recently, and this isn't a small hall event, Dave Allen was talking about the Chris Eubank, Liam Smith card on Sky, and Ben Shalom was asked about VADA testing, and he dodged the question, which probably gives you the answer that you need. And Dave Allen said, no one tested me at all. I wasn't tested at all. And well, if they're not testing Dave Allen, were they testing Eubank and Smith? Maybe they tested the top guys and didn't test the undercut. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But the point is, again, drugs are rife in our sport. What are we going to do about it? We're going to roll over. Now, Larry Olubamiwo, having the knowledge of what you can put in your body and can't, and he says anything that is naturally produced by your body should be legalized. That is to say, you can have injections or take tablets to increase the natural substances that are in your body. Anything that isn't should be banned. Now, I'm not going to say yay or nay on that argument because I don't know enough about it. I don't have a degree in biochemistry and pharmaceuticals or whatever it is that Olubamiwo has. But he also mentioned the fact that because he had the knowledge, he was able to make sure that he wasn't endangering his health by taking excess substances or unnatural substances, or the amount. He was able to monitor that, and he had blood tests to make sure his health was okay. Most fighters, of course, A, they don't have the knowledge, and therefore B, if they are taking stuff, they are potentially endangering their long-term health. But this interview with Larry Olubamiwo by Tris Dixon and it does last a couple of hours, so it's one of those, maybe if you're doing something, you put it on and listen to it as you, cleaning the house or washing the car or whatever. It's really, really good. And Larry is an interesting character because he's proved that after PEDs and after he finally quit in 2014, 2015, whatever it was, after the Huey Fury fight, he's actually gone on to be an actor, and a moderately successful one. He's been in a couple of big movies. I think he was in Venom, one of the Marvel movies. And when you consider where he came from, because he talks about his life early on, he comes from Hackney. If you're from London, borough of Hackney, back in the day, I don't know about it now, but back in the day it was a bit of a rough and tumble place. I'm from borough of Haringey, which is the one above it, north of it. And he actually said his mum lives on what was called Murder Mile, which, if a place has got a name Murder Mile, it's not going to be the quietest of places. But Murder Mile, it runs from the top to the bottom of Clapton, and it was a very, very dangerous place to live. And Larry said his mum lives there. Larry got into trouble for armed robbery, although he says it was a replica gun, no shells in the gun. It was just for show. And when Tris Dixon asked him what who he was robbing, he said, "Well, we were robbing brothels." So keeping it in the criminal fraternity. But he did I think he said he got a 10 stretch, and I don't know whether he did. I don't think he did the 10, but yeah, he educated himself inside. He didn't have any problems inside. He's a huge guy, big. I think he's Nigerian originally. Big, strong lad, 6'4". Okay, that can make you a target, but at the same time, there aren't many people going to want to take you on. And he minded his own business, kept his head down, and did some good stuff when he was in prison. Retribution goes in hand with rehabilitation, as they say. When he came out, he took up boxing, and now he's into acting. So there is a way, life beyond, PEDs and boxing in general. But go and have a look at this interview. It's really, really interesting, and especially from the point of view of, you know, the drugs issue, the PEDs issue. Larry's got a lot to say. He knows far more about it than I do, probably you do, probably most people do, because he's lived it and studied it and done everything. Go and have a listen. It's really, really good. Anyway, yeah, thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be fantastic, and also hit the like button as well. And yeah, I'm out of here. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.